It's happening. We're finally coming out with cream cheek products. This project coming to fruition is nothing short of a miracle. I cannot describe to you how many times we shelved this, brought it back out, shelved it, brought it back out, shelved it. And then finally I was like, I can't not do this. So we just have to figure this out. I know you guys have been waiting for cream blush, cream bronzer, cream anything for a very long since launch. Honestly, I can't handle the pressure. Here's the thing. If we're just gonna get into it, then let's just get into it. I love cream products so much. They have changed my makeup routine. They became such a staple for me. And also, I then became very picky. And this was a product that I knew was gonna be really important to me personally. And part of that is because I knew you guys were so excited and waiting for this and waiting to see this from us. And so I wanted to do it the way that I had always envisioned doing it, which is outrageously expensive on our side. A project like this was a really big undertaking for us, being the size that we are, for a few reasons. But all these small little details were really important to me. Everything is like so, I could cry. Everything is like, it's perfect. It's everything I wanted it to be. I need to get it together. Just hold on. Gosh, you guys. I'm a mom now. No, I've been crying on YouTube for years. So anyways, I'm like just thrilled to finally show you guys this product. We've been working on this for about 5 years. We ended up going to 6 labs total before we found the like perfect fit for this. We went to 2 different labs in Italy, 2 different labs in Korea, 1 lab in Canada, and then finally found a lab in the States that was perfect. I don't even know where to start because there's so much to go over. I'm gonna show you guys the mixing palette actually, so we can just like let it have its little moment. Because I know it's not that exciting for you guys, but it actually is exciting and cute for me. I have long been a mixer of products here on this channel. If you've been watching me for a long time, you know that like I rarely just wear a foundation. I always mix it, and I just really enjoy that aspect of makeup. I like being able to make products my own, and that's what this palette is all about. So I thought it would be nice to have a mixing palette to go with it. So we made this little small mixing palette. I like them to be small and easy to just like carry around. And then we have a little palette knife as well that goes with it. It says Auric down the center, and then this says Auric here, and also on the back it says Auric. Originally we were just going to do all gold, and then I was like, ooh, I kind of like the idea of having a silver side, because then I can use the gold side for mixing textures that I know what the outcome is going to be color-wise, and then having the silver side for mixing colors. Because it's just easier to discern what the color is on that kind of like more like clear surface, so to speak, where the gold obviously adds like it's harder to discern what color you're mixing. Let's get into this palette. There are 3 different variations of this palette ranging from deep to light, and I'll go through them in depth all in a second, but I'm just gonna grab one to kind of start talking you guys through the concept behind the palette, and then we can get into colors and all that kind of stuff. So we call these palettes Mirage Shift for a number of reasons. The first is that all the shade names and the secondary packaging and the primary packaging were really heavily inspired by the desert. And where I actually got the initial idea for this primary packaging was from a friend's coffee table. They had this huge black coffee table that had these like little ripples in it kind of thing throughout the whole, which seems, it probably is actually kind of an inconvenient coffee table in hindsight, but it was just beautiful. And I was like, can you send me pictures of your coffee table so I can send it to our manufacturer? And I just loved that this looked like kind of like rock in the desert that gets smoothed over time. I just thought it was so pretty. So that was how we created that top texture, was based off that coffee table. And then with the component itself, you can kind of see here, there's a little indentation that just makes it really easy to like open up that palette. Sometimes with certain palette construction, it's really difficult to open depending whether or not you have like nails or dexterity issues. So I love that it just has that like perfect indentation. It's so easy and quick to open, but it stays shut really nicely. So we had to put magnets in like multiple different parts of this palette construction, which honestly, like the magnets were like a whole thing of its own, because if you can kind of see on the inside here, you have the bronze rim and then you have the black inside. The reason it's constructed like that is so that we can pop out that insert, and I'll show you guys that in a second. So what we then had to do was hide magnets in this like tiny little brown part and up here, so that the palette would stay shut. Like if you have it in your bag or something, it's not gonna like rustle around and open up really easily. So we had to hide those magnets in there, and then there's also a magnet underneath that's holding the pans in place. There's also a mirror in every single palette. It just has a sticker on it that you can peel off. Because of that mirror, we decided to put a weight in the bottom of the palette as well, so that when the palette is open on your desk, it's not going to fall over due to the weight of the mirror, making it too top heavy. On the back of your palette, you'll see 4 holes. Your guys will have a sticker on it with like some information, but the stickers weren't ready in time for me filming this video. Those holes you can use to pop out each product individually, but you can pop out each pan that way, which will allow us to offer refills hopefully in the future. That's the long-term intention. So then you don't have to replace your entire palette. You can just replace the shade as well. It will give you the option to, if you want like a deeper bronzer color, but you like the blush shade, or you want a deeper blush color or whatever, vice versa, you know what I mean? So then it kind of gives you some versatility that way. Also, I just have to say, I love that these holes are on the bottom of where the pans go. You can kind of see there, because it makes it so that when you're tipping the pan out, a lot of the times the hole's like dead center, and it just makes it so much harder to not mess up the product accidentally when you're popping it out, which obviously if like the pan was empty, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but that's not what I'm working with currently. So now you can see we just have kind of like our empty insert. If you look right here in the top right corner, there's a little semicircle shape, and you can just basically slide your finger under there and pop out the insert. So this makes it not only really nice and easy to clean if you're one of those people that just likes to keep your product super clean, but this also has that magnet still on the palette. So you can use this palette then for anything you want. So anything that has a metal base, you can kind of stick in there. If you wanted to, you know, put eyeshadows in there, if you were traveling and like, let's say you wanted to bring your bronzer and your blush and then like a couple shadows, you can stick everything in there. So I'll show you guys our first palette. This is Eventide. Every single palette comes with a bronzer, blush, highlight, and a mixing balm. The mixing balm is universal. It's the same shade throughout every single palette. It has a really low pigment load to it, so it's not going to go ashy on deeper skin tones, and it's not going to be too deep on lighter skin tones. So the whole concept behind this palette really hinges on the mixing balm. Its name is Dew Beam. Very cute. And what we really wanted to achieve was creating a product that lives outside of trends. Something that you could make your own, that would be versatile, that you can use to adapt your makeup as your style changes, as trends change, as your skin changes. So the bronzer, blush, and highlight are all more of a satin kind of skin finish, which is going to be universally flattering no matter your skin type or texture. And then the balm is really glowy, beautiful. It has a little bit more of a tack to it, which helps it to wear much longer. And the balm can be mixed or layered with any of these other formulas. And that balm is going to do 3 things. It's going to dilute the color to make it a little bit more sheer. It's going to add a little bit of pearl so that you have more glow to the skin. And it's going to adapt the texture to be more kind of dewy, glowy. If you want to wear your blush, bronzer, highlight, full pigment, and you don't want to dilute that color, then you can layer the balm over top to kind of add some of that hydration, texture, and glow without changing the color at all. This product builds really beautifully, which is something that I've just always loved about creams. There are creams and like liquid products that are so pigmented that it makes it a lot harder, and you're kind of working backwards against yourself to, you know, tamp down that color. So for me personally, I prefer something that I'm able to build up and control that way. So if I want to apply it in a really subtle way, let's say I'm just wearing a skin tint and I just want like a little like clean girl moment, then I can do that. If I want something way more pigmented and I want kind of more of an intense contour, a really blushy moment, whatever, then I can do that as well. The concept of this palette became even more important to me as time went on, because we were developing this for so long and because we went through so many iterations of the formula. I started really paying attention to not only how quickly my own style changed, but also how unbelievably quickly trends changed. And I think TikTok has really taken that to like a whole other level, which can be so great in so many ways, because I think trends serve this purpose of, you know, getting you excited about new things and trying new things and trying new styles and techniques. And it can really help you to find and adapt your own personal style, but it can also be really overwhelming. And I think it lends to this whole issue around over consumerism, which I'm not gonna like get super into. I realize I'm here selling you a product, but I don't like this idea that with every trend, it's like, oh, okay, and now you have to go buy this new product so that you can achieve this trend. And then you have to go buy this product so that you can achieve this trend. Because for me, it's always come back to the fact that like, if you have the right tools and you have the right technique, you can usually adapt the things you have. And so that's kind of what we wanted to convey through this product. And for me, as we were sampling different formulas and stuff like that, I've always had my moments with my skin, but like my skin really went through some pretty dramatic changes over the course of this development, where it was like not so bad, and then it was actually pretty clear, and then it was like like the worst it's ever been. And then also like I've aged over dramatically over the past couple of years. And so my skin texture changed a lot in terms of even just like, you know, starting to see more like wrinkling and fine lines, and the way that my makeup was sitting on my skin was becoming very different. So the way that I did my makeup in my early 20s versus the way that I'm doing my makeup now in my early 30s has shifted, and the techniques that I have to use and the textures that I have to use have changed. And there's seasons where, you know, I like more satin makeup, and then there's times and seasons where I like more dewy, glowy makeup, and I feel like it serves me differently depending on what my skin's going through, what I'm personally liking the look of, etc. And so that whole idea of trends being the mirage and this allowing you to shift among those trends that's taking place globally, but also within yourself, it just rang more and more true to me over time. So anyways, wow, this is gonna be the longest video. I'm so sorry, but also I'm not, because I just can't stop myself, because there was just so much that went into this product. So back to our palette here. Okay, so this is Eventide, as I said. She's our deepest in the range. So this is Dune Shade, our bronzer. Again, very buildable. I'm gonna put in swatches that we had from our model shoot here, and I'll show you as well the two girls that we had this palette on. We had it on Oyama and Onosholema. I believe we brought Anita into this palette as well at one point. So that's Dune Shade, and then our blush, we have Fever Heat. Again, I feel like this looks so bright and so intense, but it's really, really easy to apply in like a more sheer fashion if you want. It's so gorgeous on the lips too. It was a little bit of a harder color to formulate because I wanted it to have that kind of like orange undertone to it. I didn't want it to go too far down like the blue red category because I wanted it to still have that real warmth to it. But I'm really happy with the color we landed on. It's really, really gorgeous. And then the highlight we have is Lion Basque. So this is a really gorgeous kind of like golden highlight. It looks like quite golden bronzy in the palette, but on the skin, it just like melts really beautifully on. It doesn't look too bronzy gold. So it is like easy to make it look kind of like more natural. And this highlight mixed with that blush, just don't fucking get me started. It's stunning, immaculate. It's so beautiful. And mixing the highlight and the blush will definitely give you more of a kind of like dramatic pearl effect, and it will shift the color more than mixing the balm and the blush will. And then we have our balm, Dew Beam. So this balm, you'll notice a texture difference immediately, like when you get to start touching it and putting brushes in it and whatever else. It's a lot softer. You do not need much of this. A little goes a very, very long way. I mean, like, go hard if you want, certainly. But because it's so soft, it mixes in really, really, really beautifully with those other products that are a little bit kind of like firmer. So if you're mixing, you can use your palette knife and palette to mix. I also sometimes, to be honest, like I'll just like dot my brush back and forth, okay? Your call, do whatever you want. I'm not the police. So this is High Noon. Ugh. What a woman. This is our medium palette. I'm currently wearing our light palette, applied very heavily because that's just how I do my makeup. I don't care, but I can easily wear this palette. I'll opt for this more when I want kind of like a warmer look to my skin. The bronzer in the light palette is like a little bit more, it's not cool toned. I just like I can't get down with like a cool tone. I use my bronzer essentially as contour. So like I can't get down with like a super cool tone. It's very neutral and gorgeous. But if I want kind of like that warmer, more like true sun-kissed look, then I'll opt for the medium palette. Also just like that blush and this highlight, I've got a fucking bone to pick. Excuse my language. But I'm gonna use this video as a platform to complain bitterly about something. Just give me a second. So high noon for our bronzer. This is Foxtail. Beautiful, warm, but still not so warm and orangey that it's gonna go weird on more olive skin tones. It's still gonna like blend really beautifully onto olive skin tones. Our blush is called Sand Blush. Just hold on. And then the highlight is called Sun Soak. Here's the thing, the highlight, well, everything's so beautiful. This highlight, I can't even describe to you how many samples I mixed up of this highlight to send to different manufacturers because I wanted this highlight to be so perfect. And it's hard sometimes because like I'll mix up things that, like I'll mix up lipsticks with foundations, with bronzers, with blushes. So I'm mixing a bunch of crap and like powder. Sometimes I'll scrape powders into there. So like sometimes the color that I mix won't necessarily translate into something that's just like purely a cream product because I'm mixing in a bunch of crap that doesn't actually belong in a cream product. So the pearls might look a little bit different than it will look once it's actually like a cream that's all mixed together and poured, you know? However, I was like so particular about that highlight because I had mixed this really beautiful, in my opinion, color that's like this like light champagne-y gold color with like this little tiny bit of a blush to it. Like it has this like kind of a little bit of a pink to it that's so subtle, but it's there and it's just beautiful. And so when I was writing up all the names and deciding on the names, which like this takes me an outrageous amount of time, I cannot even describe to you. I like go into a fever dream when I'm naming things. And the name I had for every other name, I was like, maybe, I don't know. This was the only name that I was like dead set on. And I wanted to name this highlight Sand Blush because it looks like blushed sand, okay? I finished all the other names. I was like, obviously this name's genius. That's clear. I finished all the other names. We were on like a team call and I was like going through all the names and everyone was like, great, whatever. And then I got to that and I was like, this one is named Sand Blush. And I'm saying everyone for dramatic effect, but like my mom was on my side because she's my mom. But everyone was like, what? No, that name is awful. Excuse me? First of all, I think I might be your boss. I'm sitting there arguing back and forth about this and I was taking a video of the highlight like sample to show them like the shift of it and be like, look at it, it's like sand, but it's blush colored. It's like sandy blush, like it's blushy sand. You know what I mean? Like I was taking this video and this is the video from that moment.
I'm aligned with your names 99% of the time. I think you're one of the best namers in the biz. However, with this...
He ends that by saying basically, I think you're one of the best in the biz. Thank you. But this name is like not it. And then someone, can't remember who, probably Danielle, was like, let's call the blush Sand Blush. And I was like, in what world would we call a blush a blush? Are we insane? Long story short, I got vetoed out. And our blush is now called Sand Blush. What was the name I originally had pulled for that? Hold on, let me look. Rose Prick. So wouldn't that be so cute? Rose Prick and then Sand Blush? I don't know. You tell me whether or not you hate it. I think it sounds nice as a highlight color. I think it's insane as a blush color, but here we are. Rose Prick is such a cute name and Sand Blush is such a cute name, but also Sun Soak is an extremely cute name as well. So I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, Foxtail, Sand Blush, Sun Soak. Do beam. Okay, last but not least, we have the lightest palette, which is Daybreak. Just this bronzer color, I don't even know where to start. It is perfect, immaculate. It never goes weird on my skin. It's always stunning. It again layers so beautifully without getting like that weird kind of like grayish muddy tone to it or getting too warm. It's just really, really beautiful. So this bronzer is called Cactus Wood. Then we have Thistle Bloom for our beautiful, beautiful blush here. Again, just like such a gorgeous, stunning shade. I love it so much. And it's really beautiful on the lip. I mean, they're all the blush shades are really beautiful on the lip. And then our highlight in this palette is called Ghost Flower. Don't be afraid. It looks very, very light, and it is, but it's beautiful. I'm just gonna be straight up. I adapted that color based off a discontinued Chanel highlight. I think it's called Camellia de Plumes. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, oh my God. It's selling for $212 Canadian on eBay right now. Anyways, it looked like white in the pan basically, but when you swatched it, it was this kind of like goldy, really beautiful color, but sometimes it would go a little ashy on me or almost a little green. Like there was something about it that like, it had the potential to be so perfect, but it would just sometimes go a little bizarre. I had to like cut into my perfect discontinued beautiful Chanel highlight, which like I hadn't used in years. It was like sitting in the back of my closet anyways, because I like went cruelty free quite some time ago. But regardless, it was just like too perfect. It was so sad, but I like cut into it and like smashed it up and sent it to it was probably the third lab we started working with on it. And then I eventually mixed up like a cream version, but this cream version is like everything that I wanted that Chanel highlight to be and more. It's really warm and beautiful on the skin, and it has that kind of like light quality to it that makes it really like beautiful and reflective, but not in a way that turns ashy or green or looks like gaudy and over the top. It's just so, so stunning. Is that it? Am I done? Is that it? How long have I been filming for? An hour? Wow, okay. I feel like I was like in a rogue state just now talking about all of that, because like I've had this bottled up inside me for so long. It's outrageous. I'm just so proud of this. I'm so proud of what we were able to create. Every single thing about it, the packaging, the formula, how it looks on the skin, how it wears, the concept behind it. Like I'm just like unbelievably proud of this product. I love how it turned out. It's perfect. Sorry. I hope you guys love it. I can't wait to see it on you. I can't wait to share this with you. I can't wait for the moment that you get to like hold it in your hands. I hope you feel all the love that went into this, because it truly was like such a labor. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to me ramble about this. I have another video coming up where I now know, because I filmed it first, that I repeat myself a million times. But I am showing you how the product applies. I just realized I got distracted and didn't say the names of the other models for the medium and light palettes. So I'm just gonna say that now. We had Anita as our main medium palette.
I forgot to mention Maya, who was our other main medium palette girl. She was so incredible. I was so wrapped up in complaining about the sand blush story, and this is what happens when you let bitterness take over your heart.
And then we had Lauren that was kind of oscillating between the medium and the light, and then Danielle as our light palette. All the other credits for the photographers and stuff like that of anything that I show in this video will be in the description as well. Please check them out. We had so many talented people working on this project. From every single angle, product photography, the model photography, all that kind of stuff. I'll be sharing more about it on my Instagram because I just want to, I'm so grateful for everyone that was any part of this project. Even the labs we didn't end up working with, it all helped push it in the right direction to where we are now. So it's just, yeah. That's it. I'm gonna go fucking cry about it, okay? Thanks so much for hanging out, guys. I will see you next time. Peace out.